Want to know what's happening in the magic story but don't have time to read it yourself? I got you covered. Here's a quick TLDR of the story of the Streets of New Capenna. The Cabaretti, or the White Red Green family, are planning a massive New Year's Eve party. They're going to show off their new fountain of a source called Halo, a finite magical source of power that is running low and it's definitely not a drug. Wink wink. The Maestros, the blue-black-red family, are spying on this party, but also spying on someone called the Adversary. The Adversary is buying power and loyalty with Halo, and all 5 families are convinced he is trying to set up a 6th family on the plane. Vivian Reed is on the plane looking for, quote, a place where the constructed and natural worlds were in harmony. She runs into Tezzeret, who's like, hey, want to help out my friend Urabrask? He's super cool and wants to fight for freedom. After escaping Theros, Elspeth traveled back to Dominaria, where she met up with a Johnny Goldmane. She tells him the story of how she escaped the Theros underworld and how Calyx is still hunting her. Johnny tells her that he believes he has found her home plane, New Capenna. He tells her that long ago the Phyrexians invaded New Capenna, but somehow they were beaten back. So he wants Elspeth to go there and find out exactly how they did that. Elspeth spends the first few weeks doing odd jobs in the city. She arrives at her current job one day and is being shaken down by the Maestros, the blue-black-red family. After some back and forth, the Maestro vampires attack. Elspeth is able to run away, but is quickly cornered. She's able to knock out all of her assailants, and as she's about to leave, another Maestro agent stops her. He wants Elspeth to work for him in exchange for Halo and information about the history of New Capenna. The chapter ends with Elspeth accepting the offer. Elspeth was given a job at the Maestros Museum. Xandar, the leader of the Maestros, comes to Elspeth one day and tells her if she wants the information, she's going to have to do a few jobs for him. After performing said jobs, he gives her the history of Capenna. The Archangels and the Demon Lords had to join forces to fight an unknown threat. In their absence, the Demon Lords appointed the 5 families to rule in their place. Xandar, who was there when he signed the contract, doesn't remember much since it was so long ago, so that is why he's procuring all these different pieces of art to try to jog his memory. While on another job for Xandar, Elspeth runs into Vivian Reed. Vivian alludes to having more information about the plane, and will find Elspeth when she knows more. When Elspeth returns, Xandar tells her he wants her to infiltrate the Cabaretti in exchange for everything Xandar knows. The chapter ends with Elspeth at a Cabaretti party getting approached by the right hand of the Cabaretti, offering her a job. Pick up where we left off in episode 1, where Tezzeret tells Vivian to come with him to Urabrask. Tezzeret leads Vivian to a cave in the underbelly of Capenna. It is there that he reveals that he is working with the Praetors, but he's trying to play both sides. He says that Elishnorn has something he needs, but it doesn't matter if all life is destroyed. He leads Vivian to Urabrask, where they explain that not everyone on New Phyrexia is behind Elishnorn. Urabrask and his kin just want to be left alone. Elishnorn wants the entire multiverse Phyrexian, and with her at the head. Urabrask wants to start a revolution against Elishnorn, but in order to do that, he needs a few things: time, Halo to recover, and Elspeth. Elishnorn fears Elspeth, and he wants to use that against her. Vivian tracks Elspeth down, and we have a repeat of the encounter in episode 3. After the encounter, she returns to Urabrask, and he tells Vivian to bring Elspeth to him once she is done with her business here, as she is the key to our success, and her spark will ignite my people and Miriam's both. Elspeth, having successfully infiltrated the Cabaretti, is working as a waitress at the Crescendo. At midnight, the Cabaretti forces a young girl named Giada onto the stage. Everyone watches in amazement as she fills a bottle with Halo out of nothing. Most people at the party see a tool to be used, a font, but Elspeth sees a little girl who's going to be bled dry. At midnight, the Adversary makes his move. He infiltrates the Maestros Museum and whacks Xandar. At the same time, the Adversary's goons attack the Crescendo. During the confusion, Elspeth uses this as an opportunity to help Giada escape. They almost make it out, but they get cornered by some of the Adversary's henchmen. Without warning, Vivian shows up and rescues Elspeth and Giada. Word gets back to Obnixilus that the font escaped. He orders for many families taken care of and the font to be found at any cost. Chaos spreads throughout the city as Elspeth, Giada, and Vivian look for a place to hide. Vivian tells Elspeth they have bigger problems and she needs to come with her. The chapter ends with Elspeth running back to the Maestros Museum to get a weapon. Elspeth, Vivian, and Giada find a safe place to hide for the night, but the Cabaretti find them the following morning. All 3 are captured and taken to Obscura hideout. Giada is asked to make Halo for Jetmir, who was mortally wounded during the Adversary attack on the Crescendo. Just as Giada finishes filling the bottle, the Adversary's henchmen attack the safe house. Elspeth uses her magic to break the shackles of her allies, and they try to escape in the confusion. Elspeth, however, is overwhelmed, beaten, and stabbed. Vivian makes enough room for Giada to get over and heal Elspeth with the Halo she made. Fully healed, our 3 heroes and the remaining Cabaretti and Obscura make their escape. But of course, they walk into another trap. The remaining Cabaretti are taken out by more Adversary traitors, but our heroes were able to escape yet again. They make their way to a cathedral. Inside the cathedral, Giada and Elspeth begin to glow. Obnixilus storms in and attacks. Elspeth and Vivian try to fight him off, but he's too strong. He manages to grapple Elspeth and start to crush her. Giada then, as though speaking to no one, turns into a giant elemental of Halo. This causes a shockwave that knocks Ob Nixilis back, heals Elspeth, and transforms her sword into one with a pommel full of Halo. Elspeth attacks feeling like she did pre-Theros. She manages to wound Ob Nixilis, and he planeswalks away. Elspeth and Vivian make their way back to the Maestros Museum. The new family head relays the final message of Xandar to Elspeth, saying anything in his vault is hers. They learn of the first Phyrexian invasion of Capenna. The Angels tried to fight the Phyrexians but were too strong. The Angels turned to the Demon Lords for help, but were betrayed. The Demon Lords put the Angels in some kind of stasis that converted their bodies into Halo. They then used this power to defeat the Phyrexians and then disappeared themselves. Armed with the Halo in Xandar's vault and a plan of revolution thanks to Urabrask, Elspeth and Vivian turn to Dominaria to meet up with their allies.